joined CaseLoad coaching from De Novo. Whole practice management software built for modern law firms. Your practice performance matters.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome along to the final episode in the current series of CaseLoad coaching. I'm Grant Yule, Head of Marketing here at De Novo, and I'm joined, as always, by our legal tech expert and our Operations Director, Stephen Hill. So one of the key things that we keep at the core of conveyancing within CaseLoad is profitability. This year in particular, our team of expert in-house software developers have dedicated quite a lot of time to working with our law firm partners to introduce even more time-saving, efficiency-enhancing features to CaseLoad, all of which are designed to take your support staff through the conveyancing process with minimal input from a fee earner. So during the webinar today, Stephen will show you how some of those firms, who at the present time are very busy, as you'll know, and are wishing to exploit the kind of newly revived property market, they're using CaseLoad to streamline those processes and increase the capacity for handling larger volumes of work. So as always, we'll try and keep the session to approximately 30 minutes. During that time, we'll have a short Q&A following the demo. Feel free to send us your questions throughout and we'll answer them once the demo has ended. So let's begin. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you. So I'll quickly run through the learning objectives for this week. We're going to start looking at the client intake, prospecting and quoting part in the leads management system. We'll then look at how quickly you can onboard clients using your DocuSign integration or your usual method of communicating to clients, but in a quicker fashion. We'll look at bookmarks and tags and how you can manage the file in a more efficient manner, giving people out with the department the access to see what's going on, even if they're not working on the particular file. And we'll touch on a little bit of email communication management to see how you can work with your clients and communicate with them quicker and more efficiently through the system. So I'm going to start off with a dashboard this week. We've been working quite a lot to bring better visualization of reporting information to the software. So as you can see on screen, we've launched the software with a leads KPI, and it's telling us some information how we are managing our prospects in terms of conversion rates, how many inquiries we're getting, and what the status of each is at. And we can then see how that works out across the different departments. So a bit of rich information on screen that you can quickly identify areas where business has been won and lost, and you can really use that to make sure you're focusing the resources in the right area. So just to the right of the dashboard section, we're going to kick off into the leads section. And what I want to show you in here is how you would manage leads and prospects. Clients love communication. They love quick communication. Today's mobile world, they're looking to get information from you to their phone in minutes, hours, not days, weeks in the mail. So it's delivering that client experience using a leads management system can really put you ahead of the game. So this one in here, we're going to go into a lead that has come in. So this lead is already in the system. And I'll just explain this part of the system first. In here, you can capture information about the lead source, so we can start to track the value of sources, who the lead's going to be assigned to in terms of the person and the department. Along with, you can see that we can have three text boxes with a numerical figure box down here in the quoted part. And we can also have two further drop-down boxes in here after this one for inquiry type. And you can also see we can add a date of birth. So within here, we can capture a large amount of data about a prospective client. That allows us to see inquiries and who they're coming from and what they're inquiring about. So that can be captured in here. Any event communication, email communication that is stored at lead level does get converted to the matter when you click on the convert lead option. So once we've won this prospective client, the convert lead option would open the creation wizard to then create a client. What I'm going to do is click on this data page tab within the lead, and you'll see we've got a quote calculator built into the software here. So I'm going to enter a purchase price for this particular property. So we'll choose that, and we'll choose buying with a mortgage. So we'll calculate the fees based on those answers, and you'll see it's built in some example fees. Now these fees are just example quote fees, but they will return the correct information in terms of the LBTT, the registration dues and advanced security, depending on the jurisdiction you are in. Bearing in mind, we know there's an LBTT holiday on the go, but that's not going to last forever. So once we've saved the data page, that information is now captured. So I'm then going to go back to the lead, and from the smart event, I'm going to produce a conveyancing quote. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a quote and produce that quote in a PDF format for me. And it's also going to type out an email. Oh, not type out, but it's going to present an email to me with the information I want to be sending. So this can be built up into an email template, and you'll see it's got the client's email address pulled in, it's got the description of the lead, and it's also got some text entered into the email. And you can see on the PDF from the new build quotation, it's filled in those fields from the data page and given them a fully fledged PDF version of a quote. So that can now be sent off to Mr. James Smith by email. And if we then look at the events, we can see the inquiry assignment that came in, and it was assigned to a member of staff. We can see that quote that we've just created is there as an attached PDF with details of the email that was sent. And we've also actioned a planned event for a set number of days' time to follow up on that lead to see where they want to take forward the inquiry. So from a customer's point of view, they've got in touch, they've asked for a quote, you've sent them out the email quote pretty quickly using a couple of actions once the lead's been created. As you further communicate with the client, you see the import from Outlook button lives at lead level. So if we want to capture any emails back from the potential client, they can be then saved at the lead level in here. And this is basically my live mailbox in here, and you can see all the email communication. The ones that I've previously saved are shown with the green tick. We can preview the details of emails on the preview button, so we can see that one here. And it just allows you to click the emails that you would want to save against the lead. We'll just take that one there as an example and click import, and that then saves that email against this particular inquiry. So back at the lead level, we can then exit out the lead, and that has now been actioned as an event. At this lead here, you can see all the current inquiry leads. So before I move on to the next part in terms of managing in matters, I'll just explain a little bit about the lead section. The items you see in red are highlighted. They are new inquiries that have an action to be dealt with. The ones that are in green, there's a meeting agreed, or there's a current ongoing action in terms of maybe a video call or a telephone call. And we did filter out things like ones that have been lost and referred out. But if we're to bring those back in, you'll see the referred out ones will show in blue and the lost ones will show in grey. So you can get that full transparency of information, whether that be ones that you want to see because you want to know what prospects have been won and lost, or it might be just a person's got a list of leads that they need to be working on, and they can do that from that screen. So on the top menu bar, I'm in leads. I'm now going to switch to accounts. So I'm now in the all matters or job section, and I'm just going to push that window to the left just to give us the full window view. So I filtered out, so I'm only now wanting to see all my conveyancing transactions, whether that be purchase or sale. So I filtered the work type to suit. You can see I've got information in terms of the account code and when these ones were created. And we've also set up the view so we can see what phase each conveyancing transaction is at, which is set up at matter level. So that can be changed as you move through the milestones in a case. And we can also see the purchase price or the sale price, along with whether they've been settled, closed, and what the date of entry looks like. So all of this information that you see there is stored against the matter. We just present that in this grid view to give you the capability of being able to see. I mean, what could be quite useful on this view is if we search by date of entry, we can see the ones that are upcoming over the next few weeks. So we can see that on screen without having to go into each individual matter. We can see the purchase price, so we know which ones, what that looks like. And we can do it by phase as well. So if we wanted to filter just to see the ones that are at pre-completion or completion stage, you see as we click on the filter icon, we can search by those phases in here. It allows us to quickly see at what stage all transactions are at through the manageable lookup within the matter. So if I just sort that by matter description, I'm going to get into this matter here. So this matter's ongoing. We have the CRM analysis, so we know it's at the instruction phase. You see in the drop down, we can select which phase the job is at. We can have additional lookups in there. We've got the date of entry, and we've got the purchase price shown all in the matter analysis, all there, all very visible information. If you're looking to capture further pieces of information, you can have additional data pages that you can see that we might want to capture other bits of information about the prospective client, or sorry, this is now a current client, we're not in leads anymore. So we can do document production. Document production would allow you to do single documents to single multi-recipients or linked companies. We can also do smart events in here as well. So I'm just going to show a smart event option that encapsulates the onboarding of a client, information being sent to them, and them also sending us information back and signing some documents. So I've chosen the house price initial docs. You'll see that this email window has appeared again with a different message because it's using a slightly different email template to produce this one here. And this basically is an email from the solicitor of Fiona to the client to let them know that an email item is coming from DocuSign. So that's all that information is telling them there. So once that email's been sent, the smart event moves on to producing the documents for this case. So onboarding documents, in this instance, we're going to do terms of business with an offer document and a conflict of interest letter. So those are all being produced by the system with very little manual input. And then those documents have been produced and we can preview them on screen, as you can see on the preview panel window. You can edit the documents. So the 3 documents that have just been produced, this one here being the offer letter, the conflict of interest letter, I'm just closing them down because I'm happy with them. The terms of business, we've added some fee information on the data page. So you'll see that's now been pulled into here. So any merged data that you have at data page level or CRM level can be brought into these documents. Excuse me. So now that's so now that's been done, we can now send this off to DocuSign. So I'll just take a minute to send. And while it's doing that, we've got a number of clients using the DocuSign integration now. And as we're waiting for that email to come in, so there's both emails come in. So there's the email from the client, from the solicitor to the client, sorry, with the information. And there's the one for DocuSign to review the documents. So I'll click on that now, and it's just going to ask me to basically digitally sign in a couple of places. So this is now the client experience. So what they would get is this email with some information telling them what's about to happen. You've got the terms of business there laid out. There can be multiple options in here in terms of tick boxes. There's the table of fees. And if we click on the start button, it's asking me to sign and acknowledging this letter here. So I'm going to sign that there. You can choose to sign on your own name, or you can scribble on screen. You can use an iPad or an iPhone to complete the signing process as well, or an Android device as well. So that was just to show an example text box in there. So the client's now finished, signed those documents, they clicked on finish, and then they'll continue. So if I go back into CaseLoad, I'm going to go into the events view and look at what's happened. So maximize the screen. So the document's been sent to the client on that email. The system's then reported that the document was delivered and sent to them via DocuSign. And if I just do a refresh there, you can see within a minute later, we get reporting events to say that the document has been signed and it's been downloaded back into the system as well. So the document that's just been signed by the client is now there. And you see just down here, it's been signed, and we've got the full audit trail of information in terms of IP addresses and data security as to when it was signed to make sure the authentication is correct. What we're experiencing is from our clients, we're reporting that 65% of clients are signing those DocuSign documents within the first 1 to 2 hours of receiving them, and 85% are signing them within 2 days. So quite a large uptake of that customer experience of being able to get those documents and sign them digitally. Another example, which I'll just show you at basic document production level, is the ability to send a client questionnaire. So what that does is it feeds data back into the system. Just choose this one here. And you see it's defaulting to send that via DocuSign because it is a single DocuSign document. So what this is different from the signing experience in that all these fields that you can see here are going to be completed by purchaser 1 and purchaser 2. So they'll be sent to both parties. So once that's sent, I'm not going to fill one out on screen because that'll take me well beyond my time limit for today. But if we look at the events for this one here, you see an example of the details questionnaire that was sent, delivered, and then downloaded back in. So if I open that up, this is the information you get back from the client. So everything that they've filled out on that page there, which is one I did earlier, is then being sent back into the system. So both signatures, all the data has been pulled in, and that then gets stored, and that can actually feed back into the data page as well. So all the information that comes from these fields here you see can be fed back into the data page. But all of that's been automatically sent back in to the file for you. So since I'm at the events view, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of bookmarks and tags. The bookmarks, you can see we've got 8 examples of typical conveyancing style bookmarks in terms of conflict of interest missives, reports, that kind of thing. And basically you just have to highlight an event. So I'm going to choose that one there. Click on bookmarks, and we'll just do terms of business for that one since that was included in there. So you see the star now highlights to say that that's the terms of business document. So as we start to bookmark the file and do that for other events and documents, if we were to then say, right, I want to see all bookmarks in this file here, you'll see they're all now shown with the different color coding on them. And I've ticked on show all bookmarks, but you could have just individual bookmarks. So we just selected money laundering reports, you'll see it's just showing those ones here that are highlighted. The tags are slightly different, and on the tag options, you are tagging the individual events. So the bookmarks are for a fee earner to book certain elements of a file. The tags are for event tagging. So if I want to search for all tagged events, so I was to clear the bookmarks option and just search on all tags events, you see these aren't all bookmarked, but this one here in the middle that doesn't have a bookmark, if I was to double click on it, you'll see it's been tagged as offers. So at the event level, you can tag individual events as certain parts of it. And these, the tags and bookmarks are work type specific. So the options that you see on screen are based on they're set by work type. So if this wasn't a conveyancing transaction, it was a court type civil or criminal case, then you would see different bookmark options in there. So that allows you to have flexibility throughout the firm on the bookmarks and tags. You'll see the import from Outlook button is in here at matter level as well. It's very similar, it's not very similar, it's the exact same window as we've seen at the lead level. So you see the ones that have already been put in there, sorry. So in this example here, you can see the ones that we sent, but if you wanted to import these ones, so we'll pretend they didn't come from this matter, you see we can click on the 2 emails and import, and that you can see in the email part of it that those are now being saved through the email icon, indicates that those email messages have now been imported against this particular matter. As we start to communicate with the client on a particular matter, you've got a few different options. We can do that from within the event, or we can reply by email on this events view. So on this events view here on that smart event purchase that was sent by Stephen Hill to training, if I was to right click on that event, you'll see I can reply by email from here. So without having to go into Outlook, I'm just going to reply. I should just explain what this recipients box does. This recipients box will show any email contact associated with the client, matter, linked company, or any email that's associated with either part of us. So if I was to OK on that and choose an event summary, you'll see it's just going to pop up an email for me to send. And once I type in the details of that email, that's then sent against this file. So I was to take those tags off. You'll see that emails just came in there. So purchase of purchase of Castle on Island is the summary which we put, and the emails went from training to training, and I just typed the word email in there. So you see that that's imported as a new event against this particular matter. We can do the same thing on the event. So on the event here, we can reply by email, or we can email event. And you can also see on the attachments tab, we can add other attachments to this email correspondence. So I can import from files, which will allow me to add anything that's on my desktop. So I'll just choose that PDF. We can import from Outlook. So the import from Outlook is useful when you want to import something from a scanner or just the attachment of an email. So we're not interested in the details of the email, just the attachment. So any of these ones that have got the attachment on it, we could add those to this. So I'll just pick off that letter for us. So you see it's pulled that in to here. We've got the PDF, we've got that, and we can also import from this matter, which is really useful. All previous matter correspondence will show here. So anything that's been previously added, home reports, anything like that, you're able to pick those off and add them to this particular matter. If I was to add that infographic, you'll see I can add that. So I've used the full functionality from Files, Outlook and Matter to bring in the 3 bits of information that I want to be emailing out. And all I can do now is email the event with attachments. If I choose the right option, I think I chose the email without attachments. Let me cancel that. Email event with attachments. It will ask me who to send it to, what the event summary should be, and it will pull those into an email. So all three there on the email to that email address, reference and subject, which I can then send out and save and exit. And that will then create that as a new item in this particular file. There we go. Email there with the attachments. I should say on the document preview panel, if you're looking to see if there's multiple attachments on that one, as we've created on that one now, you see you just click on the drop down to select the one that you want to see from there. So you can access those from there. And anything that is editable, I mean, you can open up PDFs and PNGs if you like, but anything like that questionnaire, so if you wanted to edit on that, you can open that up and it'll open in Word and allow you to make any changes to that as required, which you would then save down against the file. So back at matter level, we can then save and exit as we're done with the bits of information we were doing on that particular file, which brings us back to the main matter window. As the final one I'm just going to touch on, just to kind of go full circle, we've been in leads, accounts and events in Quote Diary. What the events in Quote Diary allows you to do is see both today's events, so that's everything that's happened today, and everything you see in here, you do have the same right-click options against, so the quick links to client and matter for those events, date and status, along with the email options and the print option. But what we've also got is the plan for today, so that will just show tasks that are due today in green. Planned for today and overdue will show all that's due today in green, plus anything that's overdue in red. So I'll just show you quickly on that one there, that follow-up. If we were to right-click on that to say that we've now done that, you see we can change the status of this event from planned to actual, and that will remove it from the overdue list. It has removed it. There was just a few with the same name for different matter contexts. And last but not least, up and coming events will show you all events that aren't due today, but they're coming over the next few days, and they will show on that view. So effectively allowing you to manage the required tasks on a day-to-day basis from within those different views.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for that, Stephen. So happy to report we've had a question in, and I'll just read that to you now, Stephen. Question is, would it be possible to automate emails to a client at key stages of the transaction? One of the issues during a conveyancing transaction can be clients looking for constant updates and still calling the office for this. Could this be set up as a type of workflow or perhaps a smart event?
Let me just read that back in my head. I mean, the smart events as they stand just now, I mean, we do have some really useful integrations coming up, which I can't mention right this very second, but what the smart events basically does is allow you to perform actions on the matter file. So as we update us, we could say that we're going to move on to the next stage of the transaction. So you could click on, you could have in a conveyancing case, you could have 5 or 6 smart events that say we're moving from instruction to exchange of contracts phase, for example. And what the smart event would say, right, I'm going to change the status, I'm going to maybe produce a document, but I'm also going to add an email in at this point as well, which will automatically go to the client. So it's really just a case of configuring those as part of the process, but the idea of being able to do that, yeah, it can be done.
Okay, so we've had another question in. Can a draft email be prepared by a colleague and saved on the file for the fee earner to check and edit before the fee earner sends the email?
Yes, I quite like that feature actually. I'll just quickly show you what I would do with that one. So this event that's planned for today, let me just choose one off. I'll go back into that matter. That's a follow up on the client conflict of interest letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to an email to the client. With some details. So we're going to save that, but before we hit save, we're going to keep it as a planned event. I'm going to assign the user to somebody else in the organization. So if I assign that to Stephen Hill and hit save and exit, you'll see on here the yeah, there it's there. So it's just got lost there in all those planned events. So that email there was created by Callum and it's assigned to myself. Now, if I hadn't assigned it to, if I wasn't logged in and assigned it to myself, so if I'm the secretary and assigning it to the fee earner, I would get an Outlook style notification to tell me I've been assigned that event. So what a few of our firms do is they do get people to they get fee earners, secretaries, paralegals to produce emails to the client. So this will sit here in here and basically on their planned events list. So if I was to just show my planned events in here, just to make it a bit clearer, I've been assigned that one from Callum with this detail. So that email there, I'm going to check over, make sure I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to email that event out to the client. And that's going to go from me to the client. So it's not as if it's going to be the secretary on behalf of type email. They've produced the email, saved it on as an event, assigned the task to you to allow you to then send that email out to the client.
Great, thanks very much for that, Stephen. So I think that's all the questions that have come in at this stage. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else coming in just now. But, you know, as always, we're available anytime. So out with the webinar. So feel free to drop Stephen, any of the team, an email, a call, message into our help desk, whatever way you feel comfortable with. We can answer any additional questions you have specifically about the conveyancing features or just caseload in general. We can organise more in-depth demonstration, specifically focusing on your working practices if required. So this session has been recorded. It will be available to watch tomorrow within the next 24 hours. The link of where it will be located is on screen, but we will send out an email to everyone with the recording, so you don't need to go searching for it. And that really brings us to the end of this week's session and the end of the current series of caseload coaching sessions. We will be back in the early part of next year with lots more exciting new features, as well as some very interesting integrations that we're currently working on. We hope you'll all join us again when the series begins in the new year. In the meantime, stay safe, take care, and have a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.